The rain didn't fall, it crashed. Thick drops beat down from the sky like it was furious at the world. Streetlights flickered in the downpour, and puddles turned into small lakes along the empty stretch of road just outside downtown Chicago. The air smelled of wet asphalt and storm clouds. It was nearly midnight. Crouched beside a black sedan, her back pressed to the tire, sat Lena Brooks, 24, exhausted and completely drenched. Her red pajamas, which had once felt cozy at home that morning, now clung to her body like a wet rag. She hugged her knees, shivering uncontrollably, the bottoms of her feet freezing against the soaked pavement. Her hair was plastered to her cheeks, and her lips trembled with both cold and frustration. She had finished her shift at the all-night diner nearly an hour ago. She wasn't even supposed to work today, but Carla had called in sick, and Rent didn't care about excuses. Her best friend Tanya was supposed to pick her up. Lena had texted her as she left the diner, but her phone died minutes later, just as thunder cracked the sky wide open. No Tanya, no umbrella, no jacket, just the echoing rush of passing cars that didn't slow down. That's when she heard tires splash through a puddle behind her. She flinched and looked over her shoulder. A sleek silver Mercedes-Benz pulled to a stop a few feet ahead. Its headlights lit up the sheet of rain like a spotlight on a stage. The door opened, and out stepped a man. He moved slowly, calmly, almost like he wasn't even bothered by the storm. He wore an ash-colored suit, which quickly got soaked, and expensive-looking dress shoes. He walked straight to her without hesitation and crouched down beside her. Water pooled around them, but he didn't care. "You all right?" he asked gently. Lena blinked, stunned. I thought you were someone else." He smiled, and for a moment, the storm didn't feel so loud. "You're definitely not the Uber I was expecting," he said, brushing wet hair from his forehead. "But I couldn't just drive past." She stared at him. He was tall, maybe in his early 30s, with neatly trimmed dark hair and a jawline that seemed too perfect for someone real. His eyes were warm, hazel with flecks of green, and his voice smooth like velvet but firm. He took off his jacket, soaked as it was, and offered it. She hesitated but accepted it, draping it over her arms. "I don't even know you," she said, half smiling through her shivers. "And I don't know you," he replied. "But I figured we could both use a break from the rain." Just then, another car, same model and color, pulled up behind them, parking with its hazard lights blinking. In her rush and confusion, Lena didn't realize she was looking at two identical vehicles. She stood up quickly, nodding her thanks. "That must be my ride." Without thinking, she opened the door of the first car, one they'd been crouching beside, and slid inside. It was warm. The smell of leather and cedar filled the space. Seconds later, the man entered on the driver's side. Lena jumped. "Wait, what are you doing?" He stared at her with a mix of amusement and surprise. This is my car." Her face flushed. "Oh no. Oh God, I thought this was the other. I thought—" He chuckled softly. "Relax. Honest mistake." She scrambled for the handle, ready to leap out in embarrassment, but a loud burst of thunder cracked above them. She flinched hard, heart racing, and her hand froze on the door. James watched her quietly. "It's not safe out there right now. Just sit. You can go when you feel safe again." She turned and looked at him properly for the first time. Water dripped from his collar. His shirt clung to his chest. He was watching her with concern, not mockery, not arrogance. Just calm concern. "I'm James Whittaker, by the way." She blinked. That name. It rang a loud bell. He noticed her hesitation. "Yeah," he said with a small shrug. "That Whittaker. My dad built the company. I'm sort of running it now." Her eyes widened. Everyone in the city had heard of the Whittakers. Whittaker Holdings was one of the most powerful real estate firms in Chicago. But James Whittaker, the son, he was a ghost. Never in interviews. Never at parties. Just rumors. Some said he lived in Europe, Others claimed he was too busy acquiring old buildings to care about fame. Yet here he was sitting beside her, in the rain, in a car she had mistakenly entered. "I'm Lena," she finally said. "Lena Brooks." James smiled. "Nice to meet you, Lena Brooks. I think fate might have made a mistake tonight, but I'm kind of glad it did." They both laughed softly. The car was silent, except for the soft hum of the heater and the pattering of rain on the windshield. For the first time all night, Lena felt safe. Seen. She looked out the window, her heart beginning to slow. But what she didn't see, what neither of them saw, was the black van parked quietly across the street. Its headlights flickered once, and the engine rumbled low. A man inside lifted a camera, aimed it at the Mercedes, and clicked. Then the van slowly followed them as James pulled off into the night. Unseen, unknown. Lena had no idea that her life was about to change forever, and that entering the wrong car would lead her into the arms of a man with secrets as deep as the rain. The rain softened as James guided the Mercedes through the winding streets. The heater hummed quietly, bringing warmth to Lena's frozen fingers. She kept stealing glances at him, this quiet, confident man who looked like he belonged in a Forbes magazine, not squatting in the rain beside a diner girl. She clutched his jacket tighter. "So," she said finally, voice soft, "where are we going?" James smiled without taking his eyes off the road. "Somewhere dry and safe. You need to warm up." "But I don't know you," she said, a little firmer now. "You could be anyone." "I could," he agreed. "And you still got in my car." Lena blushed. "That was a mistake." "Was it?" James glanced at her for a second, his eyes unreadable, and then looked back to the road. She wasn't sure how to respond. The silence grew thicker. After a few minutes, they pulled up in front of a tall glass building near the Riverwalk Modern, sleek and glowing from the inside. The valet outside gave a small nod as James rolled down his window. "Evening, Mr. Whitaker," the man said. "Evening, Todd. Just dropping by for a minute." Lena's eyes widened. "Wait, you live here?" James looked at her, amused. "Top floor." The car rolled smoothly into the underground garage. Lena's mind raced. She wasn't just in a millionaire's car, she was entering his home. Something about it felt wrong. Too fast. Too surreal. She clenched her fists. Her instinct screamed at her to stay alert. Inside the elevator, James pulled out a key card and tapped it against a sensor. The elevator skipped every floor and went straight to the penthouse. "I promise I'm not a psycho," he joked lightly, noticing the way she stepped slightly away from him. "I've met enough creeps in this city to be cautious," Lena said. "I get it. You should be." Ding! The doors opened. Her breath caught. The space was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city skyline, rain trailing down the glass like silver threads, sleek black couches, marble counters, a spiral staircase leading upstairs. A giant aquarium glowed softly against one wall, filled with colorful fish drifting like ghosts. "This is insane," she whispered. James shrugged off his wetsuit jacket and walked toward a control panel. Soft jazz began to play from hidden speakers. He tapped a few more buttons, and a fire crackled to life in a built-in glass fireplace. "Sit," he offered, pointing to the couch. "You need to dry off. I'll get you a towel." She hesitated, then nodded slowly. He disappeared down the hallway. As soon as he was out of sight, Lena stood, looking around the room with growing unease. Who was this guy? Really? Why had he been driving around in the rain, alone, at night? And why had he been watching her outside that diner? She moved toward the bookshelf, scanning titles, business books, philosophy, architecture. Then she noticed something odd. A thick envelope sticking out of a drawer. Curiosity tugged at her. She pulled it open just slightly. Inside were photos. Lots of them. All of women, some with red circles around their faces. All candid shots, some at cafes, some at night. All seemingly unaware they were being watched. Her blood ran cold. Footsteps. She shoved the envelope back and jumped away just as James returned with a towel and a hoodie in his hands. "Found something warm," he said, tossing them onto the couch. She forced a smile. "Thanks." He looked at her closely. "You all right?" She nodded quickly and wrapped the towel around herself, heart pounding. But her mind was spinning. What were those photos? Why did he have them? And why did some of those women look familiar? "Do you live alone?" she asked, trying to sound casual. James raised a brow. "Yeah. Why?" She shrugged. "Just wondering." The tension returned. Thick, unspoken. A moment passed. Then his phone buzzed on the coffee table. A message preview flashed across the screen. Unknown number. Target just entered the building. Lena saw it before he picked the phone up and turned it face down. He noticed her glance. "Just business stuff," he said quickly. But it was too late. Her instinct screamed again, this time louder. She stood. "Actually, I should go. I'm warm now, and I think I can find a ride." James stood too, confused. "You sure?" "Yeah. You've already done more than enough." "I can drive you home." "No, really," she said, forcing a smile. "I'm good." He watched her closely, then nodded. "Okay." He walked her to the elevator, still holding her gaze. As the doors slid closed, he gave her one last smile. "Be careful, Lena." She didn't smile back. As the elevator descended, she leaned against the wall and took a deep breath. Something was off about James Whittaker. The car, the photos, the message. It was too perfect, too smooth. But she had no idea that outside the building, the black van was still there, watching, waiting. And inside it, someone was on the phone. She made contact. Step 1 complete. Lena stepped out of the tall glass building and into the thinning rain. The night was quieter now, the storm easing into a slow drizzle, but her heart still pounded like it had a storm of its own. She wrapped the hoodie tighter around her James's hoodie and kept walking without looking back. Every shadow on the street felt like it was watching her. Every passing car made her flinch. Was she overthinking? Was James just being generous? Maybe the photos were innocent. Maybe the message was unrelated. Maybe. But deep inside, she knew better. She hurried toward the bus stop, checking for signal on her now barely working phone. Still dead. A flicker of panic rose in her chest. Suddenly, tires screeched behind her. She turned just in time to see a black van speed around the corner and disappear. Her heart nearly stopped. Was that the same van from earlier? The one parked across the street when James had picked her up? Her gut twisted. She needed help. She looked up and saw the glow of a late-night diner 2 blocks down. Without thinking, she ran toward it, feet slapping the pavement, legs aching from the cold. She burst through the doors, the bell above her ringing loudly. "Lena?" a voice called from a nearby booth. It was Tanya, her best friend, sipping a hot cocoa, phone in hand. "Tanya," Lena cried, half sobbing as she stumbled to her. "What happened? You're soaked. Where have you been?" "I waited for over an hour at the diner, then came here thinking maybe you'd gone back." "My phone died," Lena said breathlessly. "And I got in the wrong car." Tanya blinked. "You what?" Lena sat down and tried to explain everything. James, the rain, the car, the penthouse, the photos, the message. Tanya's mouth hung open. Wait, James Whittaker? Like the Whittaker Empire? Lena nodded slowly. "Girl, what kind of movie did you just walk into?" "I don't know," Lena whispered. "But something's not right. There were photos, Tanya. Women. Some with red circles. It felt off." Tanya leaned in. "We need to look him up." She pulled out her tablet and started searching. Dozens of articles came up, mostly business news, some charity mentions. But no interviews, no social media presence, no personal details. Then she scrolled further and stopped. "Lena, look at this." Lena leaned in. The headline read, "Former Whitaker Holdings employee found dead in apartment ruled a suicide, but family suspects foul play." The article was dated 6 months ago. The woman's name was Melissa Grange. Tanya tapped the image. "Is this one of the women in the photos?" Lena stared at the screen. It was. Her heart sank. "I saw her face in that envelope." Tanya looked terrified now. "Okay, this is serious. You need to report this." "To who?" Lena whispered. "He's James Whitaker. I'm a waitress with no phone and a hoodie that smells like his cologne." The two sat in silence, the hum of the diner filling the air. Then Tanya said, "We'll figure it out. Tonight, you crash at my place. Tomorrow, we start asking questions." Lena nodded, though her chest tightened. But across the street, inside a parked black van, a man was watching. Through a small screen, he zoomed in on the diner window. There she was, laughing nervously with her friend, still holding the hoodie, still wearing it. He picked up a burner phone and dialed. "She's not backing off," he said. The voice on the other end responded coldly. "Then remind her what happens when people dig too deep." The next morning, sunlight streamed through the blinds of Tanya's small apartment. Lena woke up on the couch, groggy but alert. Her head ached from everything: rain, fear, confusion. She looked around. Tanya was in the kitchen, frying eggs. "Morning," Tanya said gently. "You slept like a rock. I had a dream James was following me." Tanya looked serious. "Well, it may not have been just a dream." She slid her phone across the table. A blurry photo had been sent from an unknown number. It was from last night, a shot of Lena and Tanya sitting in the diner. Lena's blood froze. This was taken from outside. "I know," Tanya said, her face pale. "Someone's watching." Lena stood, pacing. "What do they want from me? I didn't steal anything. I didn't do anything." "Except walk into the wrong car," Tanya said softly. Lena collapsed onto the couch. Suddenly, a knock on the door. They both jumped. Tanya motioned for silence and crept toward the peephole. She looked, then blinked. "It's James." Lena's heart jumped to her throat. "Don't open it." Too late. The knob turned slowly. The door creaked open. There he stood, perfectly calm, holding a coffee tray in one hand and a brown paper bag in the other. "Morning," James said. "I brought breakfast." James Whitaker stood in the doorway with a calm, easy smile, like he did this every morning. Like he didn't terrify them. Like he wasn't the same man Lena now believed might be hiding something very dangerous. "Hope I'm not too early," he said, holding up the coffee tray. "Hazelnut latte, right?" Lena didn't answer. She was frozen, sitting stiff on the couch. Tanya stepped forward, blocking the doorway just slightly. "How did you find us?" Tanya asked, firm. James gave a small, friendly shrug. "You mentioned working the breakfast shift at Sunflower Diner once. It wasn't hard to put things together." Lena stood up slowly. "Why are you here?" He looked past Tanya and met Lena's eyes. "To talk about last night." "I don't think there's anything to talk about," Lena said, her voice shaking. James stepped forward. Tanya blocked him again. "You can say it from right there." He looked mildly amused, but respected the space. "Okay, fair enough." He set the tray and bag on the small table near the door, then put both hands up. "Look, I'm not here to hurt anyone. Lena, I could tell you were uncomfortable when you left, but I saw something in your eyes. You found the envelope, didn't you?" Lena's eyes narrowed. "So you admit it?" "I admit I have secrets. And I admit you saw something that probably looked bad. But it's not what you think." Tanya scoffed. "Let me guess, you're not some psycho with files on women, you're just doing charity work?" James nodded surprisingly. "Actually, yes." Lena and Tanya exchanged looks of disbelief. James stepped back slightly, putting distance between them. Every woman in those photos was targeted, watched, followed, some harassed, one found dead. Her name was Melissa Grange. We saw the article, Lena snapped. James nodded. Melissa was a whistleblower inside one of my father's old companies. She came to me months ago with evidence of money laundering and trafficking connections hidden beneath our name. Lena's breath caught. Trafficking? He nodded solemnly. She wanted to go public, said she'd hidden proof in multiple places, but before she could, she fell from her apartment balcony. Tanya stepped back, stunned. James continued, voice low. I didn't believe it at first, but then another woman reached out, same story. Then another. I started my own investigation, quiet, off the books. And yes, I kept records, photos, times, names, because I needed to know if the pattern was real. And it is, Lena whispered. James met her eyes. Very real. And very dangerous. Lena stared at him, torn between anger, confusion, and the terrifying possibility that he might be telling the truth. Why me? She asked. Why were you even outside the diner last night? He hesitated. I wasn't waiting for you, he admitted. I was following someone else. A man who's been showing up near the diner for weeks. I think he's scouting victims. Tanya stepped forward. You mean, like a trafficker? James nodded. That's why I was there. And when I saw you crouched on the curb in the rain, I panicked. I thought maybe he had been targeting you too. Lena dropped onto the couch, the weight of everything crashing down. I don't know what to believe, she said. James walked to the door. Then let me show you. He handed her a card-thin medal with just one thing on it, a gold triangle symbol. What's this? Tanya asked. It's a key to a storage locker on the south side. Everything's there. Copies of the files, names of the women, the connection to my father's empire. Why give it to me? Lena asked, confused. Because I trust you now more than I trust my own board of directors. He paused. And because I think they know you saw something last night. Lena looked up. You mean the black van? James blinked. You saw it too. Tanya's face went pale. They sent us a photo this morning of us in the diner. James swore under his breath. Then you're in it now, both of you. He turned toward the hallway. I'll handle my side. But go to that locker. Get the files. If anything happens to me, take it to the press. That's our only leverage. He paused. And Lena? She looked up. I meant what I said last night. Some mistakes aren't mistakes, some are calls. I'm not going to disappear on you. And then he was gone. The door shut quietly behind him, leaving a stunned silence in the room. Tanya broke it first. Okay, what the hell did we just walk into? Lena stood up, clutching the card. I don't know, she said. But I think this just stopped being about a wrong car. Her eyes burned with something new fury, purpose, fear, and started being about the right truth. Outside, in the alley across the street, the black van idled again. Inside, someone lifted a walkie-talkie to their mouth. Phase 2. Begin surveillance. No contact yet. Orders confirmed. The sky over Chicago was gray again, thick with the promise of more rain. But Lena and Tanya didn't care. They stood in front of a rusted storage facility on the south side, staring at Unit 4C. The heavy metal door groaned as Lena slid the card into the digital reader. A red light blinked, then turned green. Click. The door unlocked. Inside, the space was dim and cold. A single bulb hung from the ceiling, casting flickering shadows over stacks of boxes and file crates. Laptops, USB drives, old newspaper clippings all carefully organized. Lena stepped forward, her heart racing. She opened the top file. Photos. More women. Some she recognized from the envelope. Names, timestamps, locations. A chilling pattern. She found handwritten notes by James himself. Melissa warned me she was being followed. Board member A. Shell accounts traced to trafficking ring. 2 more women disappeared after reporting threats. "This is massive," Tanya whispered. "It's enough to ruin a billion-dollar empire," Lena said. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then they went out. Lena froze. "Did you?" "No," Tanya whispered, panicked. "Lena, look." From the slits of the metal door, shadows moved. Footsteps echoed outside the unit. Someone was there. Multiple someones. "They found us," Lena breathed. Tanya pulled out her Fonino signal. Lena grabbed a USB drive from the desk and shoved it into her hoodie pocket. "We have to get out now." But the door creaked open. 2 men entered dressed in black, faces hard, eyes cold. "You shouldn't have come here," one of them said. Lena stepped back, heart pounding. "What do you want?" "The files, and the drive you just took." Tanya stepped in front of Lena. "We've already sent copies." It was a lie, but a gamble. The men hesitated. Then a loud crash. The sidewall burst open, metal tearing with a thunderous bang. A black SUV rammed through the outer fence, and from the driver's seat, James. He leapt out, wielding a small baton, and in seconds tackled one of the men to the ground. "Run!" he shouted. Lena and Tanya didn't wait. They sprinted through the hole in the wall, dodging debris and leaping into the SUV. James followed, blood on his lip but fire in his eyes. He gunned the engine, tires screeching as they tore out of the facility. Sirens sounded in the distance. Police, maybe even FBI. James had tipped them off just before arriving. The men in black didn't pursue. They were already too late. Lena sat on an old leather couch in a warehouse-turned-safe house that James had used before. Her hands trembled as she handed the USB to an agent in a dark blue windbreaker. "You sure this is everything?" he asked. "It's enough," she said. "Enough to expose the entire board of Whitaker Holdings and their dirty ties." He nodded and walked off. James appeared behind her, pressing a warm cup of tea into her hands. "You did it," he said. Lena looked at him, still processing. "We did it." He nodded. "You were braver than anyone I know." Tanya walked in, holding a phone. They just aired the story. News outlets everywhere. Investigations launched. Arrests already started. Lena exhaled deeply. For the first time in days, her shoulders relaxed. But her heart was full of questions. She turned to James. "Why me? Why not someone richer, more powerful? Why? Trust me." He met her gaze and took her hand. "Because you weren't supposed to be part of this story," he said. "But you stepped in anyway. You didn't run. You saw something and you fought. And when you got in my car that night, I didn't just see a waitress in red pajamas." He smiled. "I saw the one person brave enough to change everything." Lena's eyes filled with tears. She leaned into his arms, those same arms that had pulled her out of danger, fought for her, and held a heart full of truth behind a billionaire's face. And as the rain began to fall again outside the safe house windows, she didn't feel cold anymore. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.